Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world.
I don't know.
Hello, Jinix.
Good morning. Good morning, Rufai. How are you? How are you this morning? Of course,
my best.
You did well. You're doing very well.
Because if it's not the original, I can't be the original.
Well, what can we say?
I don't know who is emulating. Is it Dr. Bati or the children? Those two girls.
No, the halogenics were the children. You're doing well, Rufai. How are you? That was a brilliant interview earlier this morning.
Thank you.
Well done. Kudos.
Thank you.
You need to do more.
Thank you.
Well, all right. Well, let's begin what's trending. On Tuesday, a group of Yoruba Nation activists seeking self-determination for the Yoruba-speaking state in Nigeria took to the streets in Ondo State, re-echoing calls for secession from Nigeria. Armed with placards bearing varying inscriptions, the protesters called for the emancipation of the Yoruba Nation in the wake of the ongoing economic hardship and rising cost of living. Rising cost of living. I mean, this is what we're seeing now. I was just asking you if Sunday Igboho is back, and he's still in Germany at this point. But this sounds like but it's what's happening right now.
It's fused.
Well, hold on one second. In the meantime, an old video has surfaced showing Vice President Shettima bemoaning the level of poverty back in 2012 when he was the governor of Ondo State. Shettima in the video narrated how a group of young boys broke the windshield of his friend's car, yelling expletives because they appeared affluent, while the masses suffered.
Incident that happened to my friend. His wife and driver were driving through Kano City, and some young men came out and broke the windscreen of the car and told them in Hausa that Shogu kuna jindari mumuna wahala. Bastards, you are enjoying, we are suffering. And those young men did not run away. It was my friend's wife and driver that scampered away. And very soon, we'll reach that boiling point unless we wear our thinking caps and work for the people. And the most important yardstick has to do with the quality of governance. There is more to leadership than primitive capital accumulation. No matter how much you steal, beyond a certain point, it's just a number. The lifestyle of somebody with 20 million naira is virtually the same with the lifestyle of somebody with 100 million naira.
Well, this was Shettima back in 2012, warning that very soon we'll reach that boiling point. Have we reached that boiling point? I'll ask you. Because a report by Global Rights, an international civil society organization, revealed that since President Tinubu became president in June 2023, at least 2,423 Nigerians have been killed and no less than 1,872 people abducted in various attacks across the country. Well, Akin Rotimi, the spokesperson of the House of Representatives on Tuesday, burst into tears while debating the nation's insecurity on the floor of the Green Chamber. The lawmaker who represents Ikole Oye, federal constituency of Ekiti, was moving a motion concerning the killing of 2 monarchs in the state.
January 29, 2024, these criminals carried out a dastardly attack in the Okeako area. In Ikole local government area, resulting in the death of 2 traditional rulers and leaving a host of others with life-threatening injuries. The House also urges the security agencies to put all measures in place to rescue the school children and teachers who were abducted in Emure Ekiti. The House also mandates the House Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance and report back to the House. So I so move, Mr. Speaker.
My heart goes out to those family members and the monarchs that died in Ekiti State. This is horrific. I mean, you heard that statistics I read at over 1,800 people abducted in 8 months. I'll ask the question Kashim Shettima posed back in 2012. Have we reached the tipping point, Rufai?
As at that time you posed the question, years before we had reached the tipping point. So the tipping point is not now. It had happened long ago. Let me hazard a guess. Even years before 2012. Nigeria has always reached the tipping point. But it's a miracle the way we still stay together. Because with this level of bad leadership, oh my God. Nigeria, in agricultural parlance, we call some animals trypanotolerant. Because they are highly tolerant to trypanosomiasis caused by tsetse fly, which some people like to call tise fly. The tsetse fly. So if I'm to say Nigeria is like an animal, we say Nigeria is highly trypanotolerant. Because of the level of things that have gone under. I was talking about the report done in the 80s here after the riots, Worsening riots, that talked about the fact that if we don't stop the problems we have as regards the economy, insecurity, joblessness, the country was going to tip over. And now we have it. When he was saying that, the scourge of Boko Haram had just started.
Yes.
What escalated the killing of Muhammad Yusuf had just started. Until today, we are steadily doing 20 years of unabated banditry. Prior to that time in the 90s, we've had constant killings in areas like Jos and the likes due to inter-ethnic squabbles and things like that. And now we're having a new face of violence, which is the violence of the hungry stomach. Dr. Abati, we call it the pandemic of the empty pocket. Pockets are so empty. The irony is there's so much money in circulation, but the pockets are so empty because of the mammoth level of corruption. They set up a humanitarian ministry. The humanitarian ministry becomes humanitarian in corruption. Till today, we've not heard the last of the minister's case, and even the SCPIA woman. So our country is riddled with a lot of rudderless leadership. People are kidnapped in Ekiti. All sorts is happening. The president is on private visits. How reflective of the nature of leadership we have in our country. We are a country that is constantly at a standstill. Nigeria has become the killing fields. When you see the killing ratio is akin to things happening in Gaza. Heavy bombardment everywhere. Assault on life and property. Assault on life of money in the pocket or in your bank. Because if you keep money in your bank, you are worthless.
2,423 people
If
killed.
you kept 1 million naira in your bank last year, Oji, the 1 million naira has halved in value today with over 23% inflation rates.
Right.
That's why you're seeing people being killed. And when Atiku talked about it, and he was saying, President Dr. Abati said that they ought not to reply. The truth is, they should bring out one line, what Atiku said. President Tinubu, I think holiday is over. Holiday is over. Come back now.
Well, you're not the only one.
You can't be sitting in Paris and be doing holiday and people are suffering in this country. President Tinubu, holiday is over. Holiday is over. Come back now to fix the problems on ground. Well, that's all we'll say.
Well, Rufai, you're not the only one calling him back. Nigeria's former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, has asked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to step aside from office if the shoes are too big. Atiku accused Tinubu of fiddling with Nigeria in the face of worsening insecurity. His tweet reads, Tinubu is playing fiddle while Nigeria is drowning in the ocean of insecurity. To imagine that the commander-in-chief is on a so-called private visit while kidnappers kill a nursing mother and grandmother in Abuja for failing to pay 90 million naira ransom and 2 monarchs in Ekiti, among other regular tragedies besetting Nigerians. If the shoes are too big for a Milokan, he should step aside. Nigeria does not need another tourist-in-chief. The country needs 247 leadership to confront the pervasive insecurity and collapsing economy. Well, The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, in reacting to Atiku's statement, said Atiku is nursing the hangover of his electoral defeat, adding that the former vice president now latches onto any issue to attack President Tinubu. His tweet reads in part, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar's statement accusing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of fiddling amidst some security and economic challenges is, to say the least, reckless. President Tinubu did not travel without informing Nigerians of his whereabouts. He announced a private visit to France and announced a return date. While in France, President Tinubu has been following developments at home, and he is on top of the situation in the country. He is in constant touch with his officials and security chiefs and has directed them to stamp out every form of criminality in the country. Just last week, President Tinubu approved 50 billion naira as special fund to address some of the lingering security challenges in Northeast, where Alhaji Atiku hails from, to cope with kidnapping challenges in the FCT. President Tinubu also approved funds for the acquisition of equipment to track criminals. If Alhaji Atiku is really concerned about security issues and not playing cheap politics, he should have known that President Tinubu is on top of issues and working hard to restore peace to every part of our country. In the meantime, senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has faulted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over his trip to France. Falana, in an interview on Sunday, said Tinubu's visit to France is embarrassing to Nigeria, especially as the French government has not recognized his presence. Falana gave an example of how France recognized the private visit of late Afrobeat legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti at the invitation of former President Francois Mitterrand, and wondered why Nigerian president would travel to the same country for the same purpose and not get an official recognition. Falana hoped that it will be the last time that a president of Nigeria will expose the country to embarrassment and ridicule by going to a country where his presence is not recognized. The human rights activist went on to state that there is no provision in the Constitution for a private visit by the president, and so Tinubu cannot proceed on a private visit and still be running the country. I mean, he's the senior advocate of Nigeria. I remember when we took this story, Dr. Ruben Abati had said that, the president was entitled to a private visit. And now we are hearing, the senior advocate of Nigeria saying that Tinubu should not be going, no provision for that in the Constitution.
All right. So this is very sad, Oji, because the moving video by Honorable Rotimi, where he was crying, when a grown man begins to cry in public, unable to control himself because of the state of insecurity, then take that to the cries of the mothers and fathers whose children are currently in kidnappers' den, and the only thing they did wrong was to go to school, where their boss was cornered by kidnappers and they were apprehended, and now their parents are being asked to raise 100 million naira. From where? Now bring that into the mix of all this happening, and then the president of the country, who is the chief security officer, is on a private visit to France. Now anything can constitute a private visit. He's entitled to holidays. He's entitled to leave. The fact that he's the president doesn't mean he's not allowed to travel. However, when your house is on fire, you cannot be on a private visit. It is almost unheard of. The embarrassment of this trip is not just the fact that the French government didn't acknowledge the president. The ridicule, and by ridicule in this stance, is how ridiculous it is. And the embarrassment is that there's so much going wrong with insecurity in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And the president has not deemed it fit to cut short his trip. No matter how, I'm trying to think, my mind is trying to think of what could be so important, what could be so, that the country is literally almost on fire.
Yeah.
And you are still away. Any leader, any president, and that's why I'm saying we must elevate our leadership, because people are giving excuses. When I read Mr. Bayo Ononuga's tweet, with all due respect, I thought this job must be very difficult. How can you come up with statements to defend the indefensible and then you come up and say, no, he gave 50 billion naira to the Northeast.
Special fund.
To Atiku's place. Is Atiku the president? It shouldn't be. That's why I said earlier that there shouldn't have been no response. Instead, what Nigerians want, not responses, not going back and forth. This is not, let's not politicize this. These are real lives being affected. These are children dying or being abducted. I mean, they've died. 2 children, unfortunately, lost their lives. The response Nigerians want right now, action.
That's it.
No statement. Action. They're launching this initial intervention but it's not, I mean, so it's too early to call, but it's obviously not deterring these criminals. In fact, they become more brazen so that they've started to attack traditional leaders and prominent persons. No life is more important than any other person, by the way. But just that when this happens, then there's a huge cry and then we're going to attack, we're going to control. But rather than having phone calls, because Governor Ibanji said that the president called him for 1 hour to commiserate and talk about the issues, rather than having virtual meetings, why is the president not cutting short this all-important private visit? You can't imagine this happening anywhere else. And that's what I'm saying. We must not begin to make the abnormal normal and make excuses for what should not be heard of and be saying that, oh, it's justifiable because he's still meeting with people, you know, from afar. Then going back to the vice president's statement. In 2012, the dollar was less than 200. The naira was less than 200 naira to $1. Inflation rate in 2012, when he was complaining, was 12.9%. In 2024, under his own administration, inflation rate is more than double what it was in 2012 when he was complaining. The dollar rate is more than almost 5 times, more than 10 times of what it was at the time. So what shall we say to these things? Because it means that it's an admittance of failure on the part of this administration to be unable. You might say, oh, give them 1 more year, it's too early, but they knew what they were getting into. And President Tinubu himself said it, that no one should give him any easy passage because he understands the bulk of the work he's coming to inherit and the problems he's coming to inherit. But the first thing is, let's get those children out, let's secure lives and properties, and then we can begin to talk about other things.
Well said, Ayo. In the meantime, I mean, talking about strong opposition again, Peter Obi paid a condolence visit to the family of Nabiha Al-Qadria, who was brutally murdered by her abductors in Abuja on Tuesday. Speaking to reporters, Obi said it is heartbreaking to witness the pain and suffering of different families due to the spate of banditry in Nigeria.
It's for all of us to sacrifice everything possible to see that this criminality is contained. It's not beginning to affect everybody. Can you imagine what it is for a father to lose her young daughter? Not just her. Imagine Falashede's family as well. 13 years old. So just imagine the trauma. Imagine what they're going through. So for me, we should do everything possible to ensure that this is contained and stopped. The security agents must work hard to stop this. That's where I am. It's a very sad situation. I don't even know how to start commenting because this is happening every day. I opened newspapers in this morning. Is that our traditional rulers are kidnapped and killed in Ekiti. This one is happening in Anambra. This one is happening all over the place. We can't continue this way.
After visiting the Al-Qadria family, Peter Obi went to Plateau State, where he described the recent attacks as a trying moment for the people and the country. Obi, during the visit to support the party's candidates before the February 3rd by-election, said Nigeria is facing the most challenging situation due to the alarming insecurity across the country.
I'm here for 2 purposes. Number 1 is to be in Plateau again to condole and commiserate with the people of Plateau on what happened in Mangu and to assure them that we are with them, they're not alone. This rascality and killings must stop. We cannot live in a society where we have no more value for human life, where people are killed every day, like I'm observing, and use this occasion to say that we should vote out all those who do not care for them.
Peter Obi again spoke very well. Let me reiterate. 2,000 423 people killed, 1,872 abducted in 8 months. The security agencies, something has to give. Rufai.
Oji, those people have families.
Yes.
They had dreams. They had aspirations. They wanted to live a good life. They had something called the Nigerian dream. But today they can't live it because the same Nigerian dream they had, Nigeria happened to them.
Yes.
Bad leadership happened to them. Lack of accountability happened to them. And for those that are criticizing Peter Obi for these visits, check your conscience and check your life. When the president is found wanting somewhere on a private visit in Paris, and the man that ran in the same election, that didn't win, that went through the court process, that also lost in the court process, take it upon himself to fill in the gap where there's a vacuum in nature.
Absolutely.
Then you start to criticize the man. Are you not part of the problem of Nigeria? Is this not what the commander-in-chief is supposed to do? A commander-in-chief is supposed to be the mourner-in-chief. And it didn't take the man about a day or two to go make all this visit. It is empathy.
Yes.
But apart from showing empathy, we want total solution to the problem. Enough of the condolence visits. We want to have a place. Yeah, we know accidents will still happen, but we want to marginally reduce it. And once we marginally reduce it, the nation becomes a lot better. But for you to have over 2,000 Nigerians,
Yes.
not chickens, not guinea fowl, not cows, not goats, not ewes.
And this is not a war-torn country.
And it's not a war-torn country.
This is not a war-torn country.
The country has become a killing field of biblical proportions.
We have IDP camps.
We have IDP camps in our own internal country. Oji, before, I remember Nigerians used to talk about IDP camps that were set up in this country for the Liberians. But today, Nigerians are living in IDP camps in their own country.
Absolutely.
And their leader is nowhere to be found. Ha. Ha. Ha.
Ayo.
All right, so when you watch the footage of Mr. Peter Obi going to visit the Al-Qadria family, you could see the excitement on the faces of the young girls. I think just the fact that they felt that someone that important thought they were important enough to see. You would see one of the girls when they were doing the group picture come just in front of them. The fact that they felt supported at that level meant something. It sends the right signal.
Absolutely.
Whilst you're tackling issues, if the president, yes, we can say the president cannot visit everybody. You know, he has a lot on his plate. Right, I accept that. But there are people in his government that can show, and Abuja is under he's not even going to take a plane trip. And there were two families, the Ariyo family and the Al-Qadria family. Just a little show of empathy. Recall that despite all the complaints and the talk about the president not including it in his, including it in his, his New Year message?
Yes, it was his
the fact that he didn't include that. These things have happened, no reference to these things, just condolences to maybe the governors. It speaks a lot.
Yes.
What people want, it's just that we have so many issues that like, oh, let's not continue visiting. But like I mentioned to mentioned on that, beyond the visits, I'm telling you, we don't want to see visits. We want to see solutions. We want to see solutions.
We do. I mean,
we want to see solutions, and so investing in the military, investing in the police force, the special intervention squad, all these things are good. But we want to see investments in technology. Yes. The NIN they've used, what are they using it for? So we need to use these opportunities and let the government fix this issue.
Absolutely, they need to fix this issue because we're seeing our Nigerians saying that they want to leave. In Ondo State, there was the rally, the secession rally. They want to leave Nigeria. This is not what we need. We need our country to be secure. Well, all right, I'd love to thank you both for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.